Is called The Obama Effect, and we're privileged to have with us in the studio famous starring actor Charles S. Dutton, who is playing a key role in this whole Obama Effect. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me.
Excellent. Why don't you tell us about the Obama Effect? What the purpose is? What do you think the movie showcases?
Well, you know, in 2008, the producer, Barry Hankerson, who's been in the music business for years, called me and said, Rock, you know, which is my real nickname. I was Rock long before I was Rock.
Oh, I never realized
Yeah,
that.
real name since I was 9 years old. We couldn't think of anything to name the show, so one of the producers said, Rock, why don't we just call it Rock so we can go home?
Okay.
You know, but and that's how it happened. But anyway, he called me and said, man, we ought to be the first folks out of the block to do a movie on the president. And I said, well, okay, let's think of a crack a story. So we waited until 2009 and met several times. We cracked a story, and what we did was a satirical look at the 2008 election about a guy who is so obsessed in his community as a community campaign manager of getting Obama elected that he's so charged up about this historical moment that he never thought he'd live to see, that it becomes to the neglect of everything else in his life, his family, his friends, his job. But through this purpose that he has, he becomes a better man, a better father, a better human being. But we do it in a way where it's lighthearted, it's funny. A lot of the stories I heard of people that worked the Obama campaign across the country, we incorporated those stories into the film. And the one thing I'm most proud of that I think people will leave the theaters, because we've captured very cleverly the euphoria, the passion, and the emotion of that night that he won the election. And people leave the theater saying, man, I remember that's just what we did, you know? That's just what I did. That's just what my family, that's just how my grandmother screamed. All of those things, you know? But it's a picture that's, when I say satire, you know, that can be drama and comedy. So it's, you know, how satirical can you go if you got Cat Williams playing a black Republican? You know, so, you know, that's funny within itself. But we give all the sides, the political sides, equal weight. In the film, he's not playing a buffoon just because he's a Republican. He plays a complicated character, a man who's wrestling with his political ideals. And so, you know, we capture the polarization of that year, the divisions, and as I mentioned before, the emotions. But it's also a film that speaks to the upcoming election. You know?
In what regard would you say it speaks to the upcoming?
Well, it speaks to the upcoming election because several points in the film, the Obama character in the film is only the alter ego of the guy who's possessed. This Obama character appears and he talks to him and has discussions with him, and he's the only person that sees him. But during the course of that, it's referencing saying, well, if you think your first 4 years is going to be hell, wait till your second, you know. And but, you know, I think it's clear. Listen, I make no apologies for it. It's a pro-Obama film, without a doubt. We did it independently. We spent our own money to do it. We started our own distribution company. We didn't go to a studio. I didn't pitch the idea to a studio. I didn't want to be dictated to by the studio or a studio executive about how I should do a movie about the first black president.
Go through clearance if you went to the White House.
Absolutely. And that's why at the same time we didn't ask the Obama campaign or his cabinet anything because we didn't want to be dictated to by them. Some people may think, well, did the Obama campaign finance this? Is it a Obama propaganda movie? I wish they had gave us some money. You know? But we didn't ask and they didn't come knocking. So, but they can rest assured it's not offensive to the president. It's not offensive to the office of the presidency. It's not offensive to America. It's even a fair-minded Republican can watch this film and have a good time.
Well, it premieres. There's a special showing at AMC Star Southfield at 7:30 tonight, but it hits all AMC theaters starting tomorrow. For those who are out there and making some choices, Charles Dutton, why should they go do that? Why is it important that they hit this and they see this immediately? I know that first weekend is always critical.
Well, you know, like I said, we did this independently. We don't have the multi-million-dollar budget to promote it as if it was a studio movie. And even if we did, as a black film, you've got to get out there the first week because any excuse for them to pull a movie, they will. If the box office dries up, they don't give our films that kind of added extra week or two to pick up steam. So it's extremely important. But from a political aspect, I'm not naive enough to think that we can recharge our batteries to have that same kind of euphoria and passion like we did in 2008. That comes once in a lifetime. But however, we still need to get some kind of passion and some kind of reinvigoration,
right.
Because if 2012 was about history, 28 was about history, 2012 is about our survival.
Okay. Okay.
And so you look at those two things, because the other side ain't playing around.
Right. Right.
You know, they've made it clear their agenda, and they'll do every dirty trick in the book to achieve it. And so we got to get out there and listen. You know, if we as a people, or progressive-minded people, if it's a struggle indeed from the cradle to the grave, the struggle is going to be there. So you might as well fall in love with it.
Right.
And deal once again. And give the man, you know, I'm shamelessly campaigning for him, but it's like there's never been a perfect president in the United States, never, and never will be. However, the man inherited the worst economic situation since Theodore Roosevelt, since World War II and the Great Depression, and he's done a wonderful job of trying to get it. If he gets some support from both houses of Congress, then he'll do a lot better his second term.
That's the incredible actor Charles S. Dutton. He's starring in The Obama Effect. It kicks off in all AMC theaters starting tomorrow. We want you to go out and see it. That's for sure. Thanks again there.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right, no problem. You all, it is Angelo Henderson, host of Your Voice. When we come back from this NBC News break, we'll be continuing our conversation with the Detroit Police Chief, Ralph Godby, here as we talk about things going on in and around the city of Detroit.